Good morning. It is market day. It is a little before 7 and it is 38 degrees outside. Welcome to spring markets where it's freezing in the morning and then it warms up later. But I'm super excited. I am solo for this one, so I don't have anyone coming to help me with setup or during the market, which I'm a little nervous about, but I'm hoping that it will go well. Usually I do have my husband and kids with me, but today I do not, and they're gonna stay home. And the only thing I'm really nervous about is setting up my tent. Good thing my setup time is super early. It's like almost 2.5 hours before, 2.5 hours before the market actually starts. So before heading over to the market, I'm gonna go get some food, some breakfast, and some lunch for later. Yeah, so it hopefully should be a good day. I think it's gonna be a little bit cloudy, but yeah, I'm excited to take you along with me as I go and do this market. Food is secured, so I am going to head to the market now. I've done this market before and it's a really great one. I'm excited to be back at this market.
My husband, he plays hockey all the college. And now he plays lacrosse.
I finished my setup in plenty of time. Here is how it looks. I think it turned out great. My setup is typically about the same, but there's a few things that I changed here and there. Since I had plenty of time before the market started, I decided to walk around and check out some of the other vendors. Look how adorable that giant crochet octopus is. I loved that so much. There were so many talented vendors there, and I love to see how creative everyone is. And here's just another look at my display and setup.
Everybody in the neighborhood. I mean, he did show up for Halloween dresses.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So they're beginner friendly. So it's a video tutorial, so I teach you step by step.
Like, just do one side at a time.
The market is done. I just finished loading the van. I'm a little bit out of breath, but you can still see some vendors over there packing up. It is, what time is it? I think it's about 3:40. I started packing up a little bit before 3. The market ended at 3 because it started raining. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, so teardown took a little bit last time, of course, then to set up, but teardown itself took a little bit of time, but rearranging the car took forever. You would think I would know how to do it perfectly by now, but I kept having to rearrange things to make it all fit back there. But there's all of my stuff. It was a little bit of a slower market today, which I'll do a market recap once I get back home to tell you how the day went. Definitely a bit of a slower day, which I think just had to do with the weather. It only started raining towards the very end, but it was just a little bit cold and a little bit dreary out. But overall, it was a good day. It's always great to see the shoppers and talk with shoppers and all the other vendors as well. I'll do a market recap once I get back home, and I'll go over what I sold and how much I made at this market. So I'm back from the market and I picked up some boba tea on my way back, my favorite drink. Overall, it was a good day, but it was definitely a slower market, as I think I mentioned before when I was in the car. Definitely slower, and I think that could have been just the weather. The weather was just cloudy. It got up to 60 degrees, but it was a little bit windy, and without the sun, it was a little bit chilly. So I just don't think that a lot of shoppers came out today, which is okay, but it definitely affects sales when the markets are a little bit slower as far as the amount of people that show up at the market. I will put a list on the screen somewhere for what I sold. I think my top seller today were the mini whales. I think I sold 5 of them. So what I made for this market was $497. That is definitely on the lower side for me. For markets that I do, usually anything above $1,000 I consider to be a great market, but of course I have to factor in market fees and distance to really consider whether it's a really great market or a decent market or a not so great market. So I would consider this to be an okay market. I've done these markets before and they are usually really great and some of my best markets that I do, so definitely not as well as I usually do. And I think there's definitely a couple of factors other than it just being a slow market and there weren't a lot of people there, so I'll definitely get into that later. I don't remember what the market fee was, but that $497 does not include what I paid in the market fee. I think it was definitely still worth it to go, even if the sales weren't as high as expected. I still got to chat with a few vendors and of course all the shoppers that stopped in my tent that I love to be able to talk to and interact with. And because I've done this market, the person who runs the market, I've done like all of her markets for the past, I don't know, 2.5 years, I think. So just a lot of same shoppers that come to these markets that have bought from me before and that I know on a first name basis at this point. So it's really fun to go to the market, the same market, and get to just interact with the shoppers that are local to me. Going into some of the other reasons that may have factored into not doing as well as usual, as I was mentioning, that a lot of these shoppers, since I've done this market so many times, a lot of the shoppers are the same. So a lot of people have already bought from me and they may have just not been looking to buy from me at this time. There's a lot of people that came into my tent and they told me that, oh, I bought this one last time. There's someone who came into my tent and they told me, oh, I bought this whale for a baby and now the baby has been born. So yeah, that's always fun to see, but of course that just goes with doing the same market over and over again for, I guess, 2.5 years in a row, is that those shoppers aren't going to buy from me every single time, or they just don't have anyone to buy for at that time. So that was definitely a factor. And then another factor that may have played a role into why I may have not done as well is that there were a few more vendors in my category at this market than there usually are, which that of course is fine too. I always love connecting with people who are in the same category as me and sell, you know, stuffies or crocheted items. It's always fun getting to meet those people and interact with them. So I've noticed often at times parents will give kids budgets or they're only allowed to buy one thing. So if a kid has already bought an item from another vendor, then they come to my tent and they've already spent their money or they bought their one item, so they aren't able to buy one of my stuffies, which of course totally makes sense because we definitely do that with our kids as well. So those are just some of the factors between the weather and not a lot of shoppers out today, having been at this market a number of times before, and then also a number of vendors in the same category that I am. Those are just some of the things that I could think of as to why my sales may have not been as great today. But yeah, like I said, I'm definitely still happy with how today went overall, even though it started raining towards the end. But I have a lot of markets that I'm looking forward to. I have one next weekend. I actually have 3 markets, 3 weekends in a row. Yeah, so I always try to keep a positive outlook on markets, even when I don't do so great. I always like to look forward to the next one. And then one thing I always remind myself when I don't do so great at a market that I was hoping to do better at is that just means that I won't have as much work and prep to do for the next market. So my next market coming up, I think, is supposed to be a pretty big one, probably like 200 vendors or something. I definitely get nervous with markets back to back, but when I don't do so great at one market, it just means that I have plenty of stock for the next market, so I don't have a lot to prepare for my next market next weekend. So that is one way to have a great positive outlook when you don't do so great at a market. Hopefully I didn't miss anything on that recap. I'm always so thankful for all of the market organizers and all the work that goes into these markets, because I know that it's a lot of work, and it's just been a great opportunity to be able to be a vendor at all of these markets, and I'm just so thankful to have the opportunity to be able to participate in them. And yeah, I'm just so thankful for the market organizers that are out there and those who are passionate about small businesses in my area and also just all over. So stay tuned for my next video. I think I'm going to be doing what I knit in a week. So starting tomorrow, I'll go from Sunday until Saturday. So that will also be kind of a market prep video as well, since I am doing a market next weekend. Thanks so much for watching.